bless. My name is Bianca Sanchez, and today we're going to talk about the Fourth Amendment and the use of legal force. The Fourth Amendment, as you see here, is defined as the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures, which shall not be violated, and no warrants shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Lawful use of force. This law allows for the use of deadly force in three situations. The first of these is to prevent death or great bodily harm to oneself. The second is to prevent death or great bodily harm to a third person. And last, to stop or prevent the commission of a forcible felony. A forcible felony is defined as any felony that involves the threat or actual use of force against a person. In the case of Graham versus Connor, we have DeThorne Graham, who was a diabetic man who was in need of sugar and was having an insulin reaction. He asked a friend to drive him to the closest convenience store to grab some orange juice. However, when Graham ran inside the store, the line was too long and he ran back out. Unfortunately, there was a police officer named Officer Connor who thought Graham's actions were suspicious. Connor pursued the vehicle about a half-mile down the road and stopped the vehicle. Graham's friend explained to Officer Connor that Graham needed sugar for his insulin reaction. Connor did tell the men wait while he figured out what happened at the store. In the meantime, Graham got out of the car and ran around it twice before collapsing on the curb. Officer Connor proceeded to handcuff Graham. As Graham became conscious, he tried explaining that he had a medical card in his wallet. By this time, 4 other officers showed up and basically told him to shut up. They basically beat him up and forcefully placed him in the patrol vehicle. Graham suffered bruises, cuts, and even a broken foot. After Officer Connor found out that no incidents were reported at the convenience store, he drove Graham home and told him no hard feelings. Even though Graham appealed his case and claimed his Fourth Amendment rights were violated, the courts continue to support the actions that were taken by Officer Connor. Here's the problem. Officer Connor made an assumption, but does that assumption fall under probable cause? What if Graham died in that situation? Obviously, he required medical attention, in which all 5 officers ignored. What was their reasoning for needing to use excessive force? I mean, if Graham was not resisting arrest, why was excessive force used to subdue him? Another case we have is Tennessee versus Garner. Edward Eugene Garner was a 15-year-old male who broke into a home and was shot in the back of the head by police officer Elton Hyman, who admittedly shot an unarmed young man. The Supreme Court did rule that the Fourth Amendment right was violated because Garner did not pose a threat to the officer. Garner's Fourth Amendment right was violated when Officer Hyman shot him. Garner was not a threat to the officer or anyone else in the area, and he was unarmed. Why did Officer Hyman aim for Garner's head? Hyman literally admitted to knowing that Garner was unarmed, so what justifies his action? Why did Officer Hyman not pursue Garner on foot? These are a few questions that I've asked as I did this research, and to me it represents police brutality and excessive force. As we continue to see more of this type of brutality and abuse of authority throughout the media, are these officers trained to shoot first and ask questions? I mean, this is what we continue to see, so when are we going to see a change?